Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where I bring you the latest news and analysis on the Middle East. Today I want to talk about the ongoing crisis in Gaza, where Israel and Hamas are locked in a deadly conflict that has claimed hundreds of lives and displaced thousands of people. As you may know, Gaza is a small coastal enclave that is home to about 2 million Palestinians, most of whom are refugees from the 1948 war that created Israel. Gaza has been under a blockade by Israel and Egypt since 2007, when Hamas, a militant group that does not recognize Israel, took over the territory from the Palestinian Authority, which is backed by the international community. Since then, Gaza has witnessed several rounds of violence as Hamas has fired rockets into Israel, and Israel has responded with airstrikes and ground incursions. The most recent escalation began on May 10th when Hamas launched hundreds of rockets at Israel after weeks of tensions over Israeli actions in Jerusalem, such as evictions of Palestinian families, restrictions on access to the Al-Aqsa mosque, and clashes with police. Israel retaliated with a massive bombing campaign, targeting Hamas military infrastructure, as well as civilian buildings, such as residential towers, media offices, and schools. Israel says it is acting in self-defense, and that it is doing its best to avoid civilian casualties, by warning residents to evacuate before striking. However, human rights groups and international observers have accused Israel of using disproportionate and indiscriminate force and violating international law. According to the latest figures from the United Nations, more than 200 people have been killed in Gaza, including at least 60 children, and more than 1,400 have been injured. In Israel, 12 people have been killed, including 2 children, and more than 300 have been injured by rocket fire from Gaza. The UN also estimates that more than 70,000 people have been displaced in Gaza, and that the humanitarian situation is dire, with shortages of water, electricity, food, and medical supplies. The international community has been calling for an immediate ceasefire and a diplomatic solution to the crisis. However, the efforts to broker a peace deal have been complicated by the political dynamics on both sides. On the Israeli side, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is facing a corruption trial and a possible end to his 12-year rule, as his rivals are trying to form a new government without him. Some analysts say that Netanyahu is using the war to boost his popularity and to undermine the chances of his opponents. On the Hamas side, the group is trying to assert its leadership over the Palestinian cause and to challenge the legitimacy of the Palestinian Authority, which has been largely sidelined by the conflict. Hamas also wants to gain concessions from Israel, such as easing the blockade, releasing prisoners, and respecting the rights of Palestinians in Jerusalem. To achieve these goals, both sides have been setting conditions for a ceasefire that the other side has been rejecting. On Sunday, Israel decided not to send a delegation to Egypt for talks on a deal for a ceasefire and release of hostages from Gaza, an Israeli official told CNN. The official said the reason was that Hamas had not responded to 2 Israeli demands: a list of hostages, specifying which are alive and which are dead, and confirmation of the ratio of Palestinian prisoners to be released from Israeli prisons in exchange for hostages. Meanwhile, a Hamas delegation arrived in Cairo for the talks, a senior Hamas source told CNN, where negotiators from the US, Israel, and Egypt were also expected to attend. For Hamas' part, it said that without Israel agreeing to a permanent ceasefire, it will not agree to a deal over hostages, a highly placed source in the militant group told CNN on Sunday. At least 3 sticking points remain before Hamas will agree on a deal, the source said. These are a permanent ceasefire, the withdrawal of what the source called occupation forces, that is, Israeli troops from Gaza, and the return of displaced people from the south to the north of the Strip. This shows that there is still a wide gap between the positions of the two sides, and that a lasting peace is far from reach. On Saturday, a senior official in US President Joe Biden's administration told reporters Israel had basically accepted a 6-week ceasefire proposal in Gaza and was waiting on reply from Hamas. Negotiators said they were pushing to get the deal done in time for the start of Ramadan, which begins a week from today. Biden had even told reporters earlier in the week that he hoped there would be a ceasefire by next Monday, referring to today. But officials from Israel, Hamas, and Qatar had cautioned against Biden's optimism that a deal could be reached that soon, suggesting that differences remained. As the fighting continues, the suffering of the people in Gaza and Israel also continues, and the risk of a wider regional conflict increases. The world is watching and hoping for a breakthrough that will end the bloodshed and pave the way for a just and lasting solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more updates. Also, let me know what you think about the situation in Gaza and what you hope for the future in the comments below. Stay safe, and see you next time.